Hello everyone, my name is Saraya and I do all the filming for my husband Terry aka Stutzman52. If you like this video or any other video on Stutzman52 channel, click on the subscribe button, then click on the settings button. Check it off and then click on the save button. Now you'll be notified by email of any new video uploads for this channel. Thank you.
Okay guys, we're back. Alright, looks like the coolant is drained, so let me go ahead. I'm going to screw this here petcock back in. One thing too is nice. You can screw this out and you notice it won't come out. So I'm going to go ahead and screw it back in so we don't forget this thing. And as I mentioned before, 19mm socket will take care of snugging this up. So let me get down in there, put a little socket on there, give them a little, just a little tug there. Okay, I'm going to take this coolant bottle out of the way now that our coolant's drained. I see that we have a 10mm nut right over here, and I see we have one right over here. So, like I said, 10mm socket will take care of that for you. So that's what I'm going to be working on, and we'll see what that'll give us. Alright, so I got the nut off on this one here. Now it turns out that this one over here, this here little bracket that's on the coolant bottle is slotted, so you don't have to actually take this nut off. You can just loosen it up. Now, you notice that the wiring harness comes right over the top. And also back over in here, you see there's a little cutaway that's in the coolant bottle for the harness to come up through. So, I am going to screw him back down. Take this harness, kind of lift it over, pull him back, and then
It should come out.
Voila.
Oh, nice.
And I guess we can take them and kind of tilt them right on over here. Get them out of the way. Okay. All right, the next step is we're going to raise the front of the vehicle up. So I have both sides of the front, and they're up on jack stands. Probably maybe 2.5, 3 inches off from the floor. So now we need to move Mr. Tire on the passenger side. 19mm socket will take care of that for you. So take all your lug nuts off, and we'll catch you in the next shot. Get your lug nuts off, take your tire off, and lo and behold, we're here. Now we have this here plastic inner wheel cover here. Now we have a screw here that's Phillips. Let's see, we got another screw right here that looks like a 10mm. We got another one over there. Now this cover wraps around, goes up underneath the car. So let's see what that looks like. Yeah, looks like we got another one right here. And it looks like, yep, we got one up there, and then somebody has replaced that screw, and it looks like we probably got another one down there. So anyway, guys, that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be removing these screws to get this here cover off. Now once you get all your screws out for this cover that I last talked about, you can just hold them out and just let them hang on you, like so.
Are you that tired, honey?
Nap while you're at it. Okay. Let's take them out of there.
And we're done.
Okay. All right. Okay, now I just put a piece of duct tape right across these holes, just to keep stuff from falling down in there. Okay. All right, guys, we're at a point right now, and I'm not really looking forward to. Let me explain. It looks like that we have to take the catalytic converter off on this car to be able to do a timing belt. Now the reason is they want you to take this here timing pin, it looks like this right here, and they want you to put it inside this hole. Now there's a dummy plug that's in there now. Now the best I can find out is that this joker is located behind the catalytic converter. I said to myself, surely we don't have to take this friggin' damn thing out, this catalytic converter out, because obviously, you know, this thing is going to be full of rust. The bolts, nuts, you know, the heat shield's got to come off. Support brackets, EGR tube. Anyway, that looks like what we're going to have to do. All right. Now, I was thinking of this thing. I says, now, these engineers, these guys got together. All right, they want you to use this procedure to find top dead center for #1 piston. All right. And they want you to put this pin in there, so then when you turn the crankshaft, then the crankshaft is going to come up next to the side of the pin, and that'll put you at top dead center. I said, okay, well, that's fine, that's no problem. But then I'm thinking, why in the hell would they put this thing behind a catalytic converter when you know it's going to be full of rust? So I'm thinking either the guy with the block who designed it to put this pin, have this pin to go in there, and the guy who designed the exhaust system, evidently these two guys were, you know, one guy was out, nobody got together, decided on who the hell was going to do what, and just stuck it in. Maybe the exhaust guy didn't know that this pin was there, and maybe they did at the very end and said, well, it's too late now, we're just going to have to go with it. I said, okay, and that's fine. Everybody makes mistakes. But then if you got to come back and take this catalytic converter off, then I say, okay, well, let's just put some stainless fasteners down there. Well, no, hell, we ain't going to do that. So let's just put regular old galvanized bolts in here and let's let these things rust to hell. So that's why I'm not looking forward to this. But I'm going to try to do this as a, you know, correct procedure. Now, if you look on the internet, you'll see some guys, they don't even tell you got to take this thing off. It's a catalytic converter. Next thing you know, there's a shot. And, you know, they're going in and, you know, where in the hell is this thing at? They don't even say, you know. You don't even know where this thing is at. I've crawled up underneath here. I've looked up underneath. I do not see this stud anywhere. I mean, this is how tight this catalytic converter is next up to the block. So, Now, some people, like I said, they will actually do this and, you know, I guess they said, the hell we're putting this in here. I guess they figured out, you know, to take this here converter out and says, well, I ain't going to do that, so I'm going to find the top dead center and I'll stick a screwdriver in there and I'll just turn the crank and, you know, and watch it move up and down and okay, there it is. Okay, I can see that too, but the only issue I have with that is, alright, so the piston comes up, you find the piston, but this here crank, you know, you have that little leeway where the crank can turn and the piston's still not, you know, moving. So the piston is up at top dead center, you found it, but the crank could be somewhere else. And that's supposedly what this here pin is going to locate for you. So that's why I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to pull this catalytic converter off. And you know, it might have broken fasteners, bolts, but it is what it is, and we'll find out. And at least I'm going to try to show you the procedure of what, you know, Ford recommends. But turns out that this here stud, if it's behind this catalytic converter like I think it is, because I can't find it anywhere else, and it seems to be that from what I'm finding that it is going to be there. I looked on all data and it says remove the catalytic converter. I go to Mitchell on demand, it says remove the catalytic converter, and then the very next step it says take this stud out and stick this pin in. So I'm assuming it's going to be behind there, okay? And if it is, Ford has screwed up one more time. Because if this thing is back there, as I suspect, then they gave the vehicle the wrong name. Instead of calling it an escape, you should call it a mistake.
Oh.
Yeah. So there you go. That's how I'm feeling about it right now.
Ooh, okay. German engineering or Ford? Well, we don't know right now.
I think they all got damn problems. I mean,
he just missed the memo. He didn't go to that meeting. What can you say, right?
Maybe, you know, and maybe I don't know. You know, maybe they said, hey, maybe we ought to put some fasteners down here. It's made out of stainless steel. And then maybe their manager said, no, we can't spend the money. So, you know, you don't know. But somewhere along the line about where the guy designed the block to have this pin in there, and then the other guy comes along with the exhaust system, you know, evidently there was no communication going on here. Because they had to know down the road to take this thing off, it's going to be rusty ass fasteners, a whole lot of more shit to take off to get this, you know, this belt off of this thing to get it timed. Enough bitching.
Right.
Okay?
Let's get her done.
Let's get going. Let's start pulling this catalytic converter off. Okay. All right. First of all, before I get started cracking these bolts around this catalytic converter, I crowed the hell out of everything.
Crow.
So they've been sitting for a few hours now, as far as all the bolts that I could get access to for this catalytic converter. So just a heads up for you. The thing you got to do, we got to take this heat shield off. 8mm socket will take care of that for you. We got 2 bolts up here, and there's going to be 2 bolts down here. One is right there where my finger is at. The other one's right there. You'll be able to see it better on your own car.
And there it comes.
Yep. Alright guys, let me show you something here. Now, these 2 bolts down here on the bottom, I could not get these jokers out. They are just pretty much frozen. Looks like the heads have been rounded over. I guess fortunately, this here thing is waddled out and rusted out, so I was able to just lift it off. The 2 bolts are still down in there. So there you go. Guys, the next step, you see this here tube that's coming right here? That's an EGR tube. Now we have to take and disconnect that, and you can see it's just pile of rust on here. Crowed the hell out of it. That's going into the catalytic converter. Now what I'm going to use is a 7/8 inch crow's foot. And I'm going to be working on getting that joker off. Okay, so let me keep working on that. Now once you get now like I said, I use the crow's feet to break it loose. And now I got a 7/8 wrench, and you can see that it just takes some time to try to get this.
Forever.
It takes forever. You forget about getting it from the bottom, because it's a lot easier getting it up here from the top. I've already tried that. So it'll just take some time, but it is what it is. Okay. Now as you see, the EGR tube is being clamped right up here by this bracket. So we're going to remove this nut on this stud and take care of this bolt. That's going to be a 13mm socket. We'll take care of that for you. There's one. There's 2. So I'm going to be taking these 2 out right here. Now once you get your nut and your bolt out, and you'll take the bracket out, you can see how it's positioned in there. This side over here is behind this side over there. So let's just slide them off. Now you can see how he'll go. Okay. There you go. Now you see that this here nut off of the EGR tube that goes into this here flange for the catalytic converter, you'll screw that out and it'll come out. And then you remember up here we took these 2, took a nut off here, we took a bolt off here. But now you will notice that we still cannot get this from out inside, okay? So, and you thought we were through with the EGR tube, didn't you? No, we're not. Shoot. So now we're going to have to come back over here, and this is not listed in the service manual. So there's another bracket. Alright, if you notice, here's the tube, and it's going around, and right beneath the coil pack, there's this bolt. There's a 10mm socket, will take care of it. Well, this here is holding this here tube in place. So let's get a ratchet on there, and let's loosen that bolt up. And I don't think maybe we have to take it all the way out, but
that'll be good.
Let's just screw it out, just so if we can see if we can swing this over some. There we go.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Then we'll take it out a little bit more. And we'll still keep it there. Alright. Alright, so Saraya, if you come back over here, back to the catalytic converter so we can see that. so we can see this tube down in there. Let's see if we got enough room right in here. Let's see if we can pull this thing back enough to clear it. And we can. Alright guys, the next thing is to take loose these 3 nuts. One is right there, one is right there, and one is right there. Now let me assure you that these here are a bastard to get loose. I spent 30 minutes just breaking them loose. And I crawled the hell out of them. Let it soak, crawled it about probably 3 times. And to break it loose, I used a 1/2 inch pull bar. And you're going to grunt like hell. I'm assure you of that right now.
And he did.
And to break these things loose. And then I'm using a ratchet 3/8 drive just to go ahead and screw them out. Alright, so that's where we're at right now. And a 15mm socket will take care of that for you. Okay. Now, you can see I got these 2 off. Now, you see this 3rd one up here, the one up at the top? You cannot get your hand down in there to get to it. Now, most of the pros know this little trick, but I'll show you guys for the ones that don't know. Alright, now I'm going to use some painter's tape. And I'm going to just take the sticky side is here, and I'm just going to stick it right on the socket. And it's already loose, so hopefully I can just take this, and I'll stick it down on the nut, push down on it, and I'll screw it up. And it'll come out, and there you see.
Nice trick.
Stays in there. Alright guys, now those 3 nuts that I just took off, you know, they're pretty rusty. Again, I got a little bit of crowel in here. I wrote up here cat flange top nuts, so I know where they're at, and we're going to seal him up, and we're going to set him aside.
And for you ladies that don't want your husband using your dishes or plastic containers or whatever, these are the individual serving ones from KFC, and they're reusable.
How about that? So they're free.
Yes.
Well, you got to buy the chicken though, right?
Originally, yeah.
Yeah, you can't walk in and just get them.
Be nice, but
Yeah,
no, I don't
maybe
think
you can
so.
try that out. Find out if you can get them free.
I'll try.
All right. Okay, guys, this is a little prelude to what's coming up. All right, I've already taken the parts off, but you'll see that coming up. But I want to explain this now because it may be hard for you to see. So I've already sandblasted these here brackets here, okay? So let me put that one out of the way. We're going to be talking about these 2 catalytic converter brackets, all right? This here bracket will mount onto the side of the block, just like that, and there's going to be 2 bolts, okay? Now, this here bracket wraps around on the back side of the catalytic converter, and it will go in just like that. Now in the next shot, you're going to be seeing me taking these 2 bolts, these 2 nuts off. Now, the reason I'm taking them off is so that I can lift this up and just slide it out from behind the catalytic converter to give me more room and clearance when I get ready to drop it. Now, here's where this comes in important. There's also another bracket that will go around the front, okay, of this catalytic converter. As you can see, somebody has cut this here front bracket off and it is not on this car. You will be taking off this here bolt if this applies to you, if you have that front bracket still around your converter. So you'll take a bolt off here, and then there'll be a bolt over here. As you can see, this here was cut off in the past by somebody else. So they just whacked it off. Now, I did look at the cost of just getting this bracket and the bracket that will go around the front. This bracket here will run you about $45. The one that goes around the front is about $65. I said I am not going to pay for either one. So I'm just going to put it back to like it was. I'm going to be painting this and priming it, and then that hopefully that'll slow this here rust down. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay guys, so let's get back on the car. So now that you see how this is going to work, then you're going to see me taking these 2 nuts off. But if you have this bracket, if you take these 2 nuts off, it is not going to bring that catalytic converter down because it's still strapped So I already explained why I'm taking these two nuts off, which applies to me. Okay. Alright guys, now the next step is get under the vehicle, and here's our cat. Here's our post cat O2 sensor, give you some reference. Now the next thing is to break loose this nut and this nut over here. A 15mm socket will take care of that. Be sure to curl the hell out of these two, because these were a pain in the ass to break loose. So we're looking good so far. So like I said, that one is loose, and we have that one loose. So I'm going to be screwing these jokers loose, and then after we get this, then we'll go to the next step. Alright, again guys, here's the next step. This is a catalytic converter for reference. Here's a post O2 sensor. You'll follow the pipe back, and you're going to come to these two bolts right here, and that's going to be the two bolts you want to be taking out. Is a 19mm socket. Now this is what I use to break it loose. I'm using a 1/2" drive pull handle, and of course I'm using a 6-point socket, and it's a shallow socket. And again, curl the hell out of it. So I've got it broken loose, so I'm going to be working on taking these here two bolts out. Okay. Alright guys, I want to give you another shot of this here two fasteners. It's got a spring up there on that side where the bolt head is. And then down on here, we have what's called a flag nut. So there's a flag, and the nut is actually welded to this here flag. And the documentation, it says to always replace this flag nuts here, and probably the bolts too. But anyway, the other one on the other side is giving me a little problem. So when I'm trying to get the other one out, this here flag is bending all to hell. So that's where I'm at right now. So I just want to give you a backside view of this thing so you can see what it looks like. Alright, this is what one of the bolts looks like. There's a flag nut I was talking about, and you can see there's a spring. Now I was telling you about the other one, and I couldn't save him, so I had to use a cutoff wheel, air tool, and I cut him off. Now you're not going to see this in the service manual, but what they don't say anything about this bracket. And you can see this is where these bolts were at originally. We had with the springs going up in here. This thing is so tight and wedged in here, you can't separate this here catalytic converter from the tailpipe. So what I've done is I've taken and loosened up these here too. I think I'm going to just take this whole bracket down. This way you can see it a lot better. A 15mm socket will take care of that for you. You don't have to put a full grunt on these, just a half a grunt will take care of getting these off, okay? So we have to go ahead and we'll take these off, and we'll drop this bracket so you can see this. Alright. So there's the bracket. So you can see, get over here. So now you can see what it looks like. Okay. And I'm going to just put the nuts right back up there for now. Screw them back up on these studs. Now here's the pre-cat connector for the O2 sensor, this here green one. Now I just dropped it on down. Now the one for the post-cat O2 sensor cable, it has a little connector right here, plastic. You can take a screwdriver, pry in the little gap there, and then just wedge this thing apart. And then this here cable, you just drop him on down. Guys, I'm trying to clear up some clearance around this catalytic converter, so I've taken this here bracket out. The bracket goes around behind the catalytic converter. The studs here fit up on top, so it's basically around here like this, and then this is fitting up on top of that bracket. So I will just pull him on out, okay? Alright guys, now you're going to see that it'll drop, right? Looks good. Now the only problem is that it will not come off because we have this here cross member across right here. Looks like we got to take it out, which is not listed in the service manual. And then at that point, should not be anything else to allow this here catalytic converter just to drop down. Can you believe we ain't got this damn thing off yet?
No.
Unbelievable. Okay. Alright guys, I got the catalytic converter down, but it didn't want to come out. Alright, so like I said, this here cross member is connected to this here lower control arm on both sides. Now the bolt over there on that side, I did not loosen it up. But I had to loosen this up. I loosened this bolt up, as you can see right in here. Alright. Now, as I mentioned before, there's that gap. If you look right here, you cannot get your finger in there. But now there's a flag nut in here. Now, the flag was turning all the way around, so it was just moving round, round, round. So what I did is I took some needle nose vice grip pliers and I clamped it right here on this bottom plate. And then that way when the flag comes around, it'll hit up next to this here vice grip pliers. Now I didn't want to take this bolt all the way out because it might be a bear trying to get this thing lined back up to get back into that nut. So I just kept loosening it and loosening it until I found a point where this cross member drops down low enough so that would clear the studs up here on the front end of the catalytic converter that goes up in the flange. So I found a spot and then it came down. Okay guys, there's a little bit better shot. You can see there's the vice grips and there's that little small opening that I was telling you about. Look, this is all you can get in there. And then there's that bolt right there. I backed it out, but I still left it in the flag nut. And so like I said, I dropped it down far enough on this cross member so this here catalytic converter could drop. Okay guys. Another thing is, I want to point it out that here's this cross member that wraps around on the back side of this right here. Now these here two studs, you remember, went down on the bracket that's mounted on the engine block and it slides down, and then of course you remember the two nuts that we took off earlier. Alright guys, so now you see how to take the catalytic converter off. All the stuff that's going to be involved. So you guys look like you need to take a break right now. You look pretty tired. So let's take a break. We'll close this video out and then we'll pick this up and we'll continue this ongoing saga in the next video. You guys take care.